Saturn is famous for its rings, but J1407b may have rings so enormous that Saturn starts to look small. And that is where this world stops feeling beautiful and starts feeling wrong. Because this is not just a planet with rings, it is a planet almost buried inside them. The central world is massive, but the ring system around it is so huge that the planet no longer feels like the main object. That is what makes this place disturbing. It does not threaten with fire. It does not threaten with storms. It does not need to explode. Its terror comes from scale, from seeing something familiar stretched so far beyond proportion that it stops feeling natural at all. This is a giant world known for one of the most extreme ring systems ever proposed. If the estimates are correct, these rings are not just larger than Saturn's. They are vastly larger, turning a familiar planetary feature into something overwhelming. That is the core anomaly here. The rings do not frame the planet, they dominate it, and that changes everything. Normally, rings make a planet look elegant. Here, they make it look trapped. The image stops feeling balanced, the scale stops feeling comfortable, and the entire world begins to resemble a colossal orbital structure, not a normal planet. We expect the planet to be the center. Here, the planet feels secondary, and once that idea settles in, this world becomes more than beautiful. It becomes oppressive. To understand why this world feels so wrong, start with the one comparison almost everyone knows: Saturn. Saturn's rings are wide, bright, and graceful. They frame the planet. They support its beauty. This planet breaks that relationship completely. Here, the rings are not an ornament. They are the main event. They do not simply circle the world. They redefine the size of the entire scene. That is the first unsettling thing about this object. Your eye tries to read the planet as the dominant object, but the ring system keeps overpowering that instinct. You are forced to see two scales at once: the scale of the planet itself and the far larger scale of the structure surrounding it. That imbalance is the identity of J1407b. It is not just a giant planet. It is a giant planet visually overwhelmed by its own system. And that is why this object feels less like a normal world and more like a cosmic construction too large to judge comfortably. What makes this place disturbing is not only size. It is what that size does to something familiar. A ringed planet should feel elegant. It should feel readable. Your brain should be able to contain the image in a single glance. This world resists that. Its ring system pushes the familiar into the uncanny. At a certain scale, rings stop looking decorative and start looking territorial. They stop feeling like an accessory. They start feeling like an environment. And that is where the beauty turns hostile. Because rings are not solid surfaces. They are immense fields of orbiting material. Debris, fragments, dust, gaps, shadow, motion spread across colossal distances. So this is not a clean symbol in space. It is a layered system of matter and emptiness arranged with impossible precision. That contradiction is what gives it power. It is ordered, but it feels dangerous. It is beautiful, but it suggests collision, fragmentation, and pressure. The larger the rings become in your imagination, the less the planet feels like a destination. It starts to feel like the center of a trap. If you approach this world, the first thing you would lose is your sense of proportion. From far away, the rings might look thin and clean, almost harmless. But as you moved closer, they would stop behaving like lines. They would become structure. Bright bands would widen into enormous corridors of orbiting material. Dark gaps would open like black canyons. Layer after layer would stretch across space in slow, silent motion. And somewhere beneath that architecture, the planet itself would remain suspended, massive, dark, heavy, but no longer central. That is the real fear of this place. You would not feel like you are flying toward one object. You would feel like you are entering levels of debris, levels of distance, levels of shadow and geometry arranged across a structure so large that it would stop feeling planetary. The sky would no longer look empty. It would look occupied. Material would extend above you, below you, and far into the distance, following curved orbital paths that turn space itself into design. And that is when the emotional logic of the world fully changes. The planet is not the threat. The scale is. This world would confront you with a rare kind of fear. Not the fear of instant destruction. The fear of entering something too large for the human mind to read correctly. This is why J1407b matters scientifically. It reminds us that planetary systems are not always neat, familiar pictures. They can become extreme structures that challenge the way we think about worlds in the first place. Saturn gave us the classic image of a ringed planet. This world suggests that image may have a far more monstrous version, and ring systems are not just beautiful features. They are records of material in motion. They tell us that a planetary system can carry structure on a scale that feels almost architectural. That raises a deeper question. How large can a planetary system become before it stops feeling like a planet with features and starts feeling like an environment built around a central mass? That is why this object stays in the mind. It takes something familiar and stretches it until it becomes alien again. The lesson is not only about rings, it is about scale. Because the universe does not stop at the versions of things we find comfortable. Sometimes it takes a known image and pushes it so far beyond expectation that the familiar becomes monstrous. J1407b is beautiful in the most unsettling way possible. It does not need fire to feel dangerous. It does not need violence to feel hostile. Its power comes from proportion pushed past the point of comfort. It takes one of the most elegant images in astronomy and enlarges it until elegance becomes pressure. That is the verdict on this world. It may look like a ringed planet, but emotionally, it feels like something much stranger. A world buried inside its own impossible circumference. A giant surrounded by a structure so immense that the planet itself begins to feel secondary. A place where beauty does not calm the mind but overwhelms it. And maybe that is the most disturbing thing about this object. It shows us that terror in space does not always come from chaos. Sometimes it comes from order so vast, so precise, and so oversized that it stops feeling natural at all. You look at it expecting wonder, and for a moment, that is exactly what you get. Then the scale settles in, and wonder turns into weight.